Have you ever just stopped and looked at something you use every single day? I'm talking like a toothbrush or a ketchup bottle, and wondered, where did this thing actually come from? Because the answers, well, they're often way weirder and more fascinating than you could ever imagine. So let's dive in and uncover the strange origins of some of the world's most landmarked inventions.
Okay, let's kick things off with a classic, a real staple. I want you to seriously think about this for a second. What was the very first ketchup made of? Go on, get an answer in your head.
All right, you got something? Well, here's a hint for you. Whatever you're picturing, it probably wasn't tomatoes. That's right, the bright red stuff we all know and love today, that's actually a pretty recent thing. So, what was the original? The answer is, well, it might surprise you. The world's first ketchup was actually a sauce from China called quirky, and it goes back about 400 years. Its main ingredients? Pickled fish, mushrooms, and herbs. Yeah, it was a super clever way to make a savory sauce that would last a long time. But probably not what you'd want on your fries, right? It just shows you how much things can change.
And believe me, that mind-blowing fact is just the beginning. Let's hang out in the kitchen for a minute and look at some other surprising origins, where a little bit of ingenuity just changed everything. Let's talk about pre-sliced bread. We totally take it for granted, but the machine that made it possible was only invented back in 1928, and here's where the story gets really cool. The inventor used to be a jeweler. At first, that sounds kind of random, right? But when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Who better to design a machine with intricate, super precise cutting blades than someone who's used to working with gems?
Now, it's not just about who invents these things, it's also about how dramatically they can evolve over time. We are talking about massive leaps in technology, from a simple stick to a complex machine. Think about doing laundry. For literally thousands of years, the only way to do it was by hand. It was a tough, time-consuming chore, and then only about 100 years ago, the electric washing machine shows up and completely changes daily life for millions of people. That jump in technology is just staggering. And here's another one for you, the toothbrush. Before we had the plastic ones we use today, the earliest way people kept their teeth clean was with a chewing stick. It was literally just a twig they'd chew on. Simple, and it worked. But the invention of the bristle toothbrush, well, that took things in a very interesting direction. Yep, you heard that right. The very first bristle toothbrushes, also from China about 400 years ago, used stiff hog hair attached to a handle. So, the next time you're brushing your teeth, just take a moment and be thankful we've moved on to nylon. And what's really crucial here is that this wave of innovation isn't some kind of ancient history. When you look back, so many of the conveniences we rely on are surprisingly recent. From those hog-hair toothbrushes 400 years ago, all the way to the bread slicer in 1928, you can really trace this amazing timeline of human creativity. And a whole lot of that creativity came from being just incredibly resourceful, especially when it came to using materials found right in nature to solve everyday problems. So, I've got a question for you. Long before we had paper or plastic straws, how do you think people sipped their drinks without, tipping a heavy mug or glass all over themselves? Turns out, nature already had the perfect tool. People used the stalks of hollow ryegrass. It's so simple and so beautiful. In fact, the first paper straws, which were designed to replace these natural ones, only showed up about 120 years ago. Okay, let's think about an even bigger problem. Imagine you're an early explorer. You're traveling huge distances, and you don't have plastic bottles or fancy canteens. How in the world would you carry enough water to survive? This one is one of my absolute favorites. Early explorers would eat the inside of a watermelon, and then use the sturdy, hollowed-out rind to store and carry water. How brilliant is that? It's the perfect example of seeing a problem and finding a clever, natural solution sitting right there in front of you. So once you start looking, you realize that your own home is basically a museum. Seriously, it is filled with objects that have these incredible stories of human ingenuity hiding behind them. And that's really the main takeaway here. The toothbrush in your bathroom, the appliances in your kitchen, they're not just lifeless objects. They are the final chapters in these long, winding stories of human trial, error, and pure genius. Which really brings us to the core idea of all of this. Ingenuity isn't some relic of the past. It's this constant, creative force that has always pushed us to solve problems, whether it's something small like how to clean our teeth, or something bigger like how to slice a whole loaf of bread.
And that same problem-solving drive is absolutely alive today, and it's tackling even bigger challenges. We've gone from using a watermelon as a canteen to inventing these massive desalination machines that can literally pull the salt out of ocean water and make it drinkable. The scale is totally different, but that inventive spirit is exactly the same.
So, I'll leave you with a final thought. Just look around you, right now. Pick an object, your desk lamp, your shoes, the pen on your table. What secret history is it hiding? What amazing story of ingenuity is just sitting there, waiting for you to discover it?